claims there's been a law enforcement cover-up.
Well, Griff Jenkins live in Washington.
Back with a Fox News alert, a brand new bombshell in the murder of that guy right there, a DNC staffer. An investigator now says Seth Rich was in contact with Wikileaks.
Not only that, he claims there's been a law enforcement cover-up.
Well, Griff Jenkins live in Washington with these breathtaking, breaking developments. Griff.
Brian Ainsley and Steve, good morning. Breaking indeed and developing at a rapid pace. Bombshell new evidence of a former DNC staffer you just showed there, Seth Rich, suggests he was in communications with Wikileaks prior to his murder last summer. Let me take you back. Here in the nation's capital, it was last July. DNC staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed on the way home from a bar in a trendy northwest neighborhood here. Police initially saying that they believed it was a botched robbery, but questions remain with the investigation still open. Now, a year later, according to a parallel investigation by former D.C. police homicide detective and Fox News contributor Rod Wheeler, there's evidence that Rich had contact with WikiLeaks. That evidence on a laptop belonging to Seth Rich, showing he was talking with WikiLeaks. Wheeler says this smells like a cover-up.
I want to find out who caused that man's death so we can put them behind bars. But if there's somebody in politics, if there's somebody in government, whether it's in the mayor's office or anywhere else in the city that's involved, you better believe they're going to be dragged in and questioned.
Wheeler sources inside the police department also saying that they were told to stand down on the case. Police not confirming any of this with us. I've been calling the PIO number here at the D.C. Police Department. That was at 6 a.m. and I have contacts from private crime stories. Nobody telling me anything. We are going to keep hunting this. It's worth noting, guys, at the time of Rich's death, his wallet was not taken, and he actually went to the hospital. He was still alive at the hospital where he died. We know nothing about what may have transpired between police investigators and Rich, but obviously Rod Wheeler looking into it. I've known Rod for a long time, and I know he's been looking into this case for a long time in a parallel investigation. This is simply developing, guys, and we will have more on it later.
Not a high-crime neighborhood, right?
Not at all. It's in the Bloomingdale neighborhood, one of D.C.'s, if not D.C.'s most popular neighborhood, with bars and restaurants. Very unusual and shocking when that murder occurred last July.
So the keys are in his computer.
Could be.
That's what we're told.
All right. Thank you very much, Griff.
In the neighborhood, the police responded extremely quickly. They were in the neighborhood. The responding officers were on motorcycles, so they were there probably within a minute after they realized it had been a shot. So there wasn't any time for somebody to stay around to try to go through his pockets or anything. It was a very quick response by the police. There'd been some that, you know, if it was a robbery, why didn't they take anything? And just thinking that if two motorcycle police show up, you're not going to stay around. You'd asked if there were any response, and I talked to the detective yesterday, and there have been some calls. You know, it's tough when you don't have eyewitnesses. Yeah. The scientific evidence is what will help, I think, help make this get solved. He was in a scuffle, because they can tell from bruises that he had. He was shot in the back. I don't know if it was high back or low back. I didn't ask. And that's bullets and bodies don't match good. They bounce around and tear up things you need. He was shot at 419, made it to the hospital, and was dead at 5:57. So it's just that there's scuffle. So there's somebody who was bruised or, you know, had torn clothes. Seth's watch band had been torn, so, you know, somebody had, you know, tried to grab that, and that might have been at the start. We don't know if there's one person, two people. All we know that there was a scuffle.
Murdered DNC staffer did have links to WikiLeaks. Investigation claims Seth Rich was in contact with website and says police looking into his death have been told to stand down. Seth Rich was gunned down in Washington, D.C. as he walked home from a bar. D.C. police claimed the DNC data analyst, 27, was killed in a botched robbery. An investigator hired by the Rich family claims his death is being covered up. Rod Wheeler claims to have evidence Mr. Rich was in contact with WikiLeaks. He also believes the authorities have been ordered to drop the investigation. DNC staffer Seth Rich did have contact with WikiLeaks before he was gunned down in Washington, D.C. last year, a new investigation by his family has claimed. Mr. Rich, 27, was shot dead in the city's affluent Bloomingdale neighborhood in the early hours of July 10 while on the phone to his girlfriend after a night out in what police claim was a botched robbery. His father has insisted his son was not behind the mammoth leak of tens of thousands of DNC emails prior to the 2016 presidential election, including messages from 7 key staffers, which led to the resignation of Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz. The emails were released by WikiLeaks over several months before Hillary Clinton lost the election. And Rod Wheeler, a private investigator hired by the Rich family, claims there is evidence on Rich's laptop which suggests he was communicating with Julian Assange's site. Mr. Wheeler says either DC police or the FBI are holding the data analyst's laptop as part of a conspiracy to cover up his death. The police department nor the FBI have been forthcoming, said Wheeler in a report to be aired on Fox News today. He goes on, they haven't been cooperating at all. I believe that the answer to solving his death lies on that computer, which I believe is either at the police department or either at the FBI. I have been told both. Mr. Wheeler claimed sources have given him confirmed evidence that Mr. Rich was in contact with WikiLeaks while a DC police insider has told him they were told to stand down on this case. WikiLeaks published thousands of hacked DNC emails less than 2 weeks after Rich's death. The website then offered $20,000 to help solve the case, and WikiLeaks founder Assange insisted that Russia had nothing to do with the leak. However, the U.S. intelligence community later concluded that Russian operatives were behind the hack and had further meddled in the U.S. elections. Mr. Rich was gunned down after a night of heavy drinking at Lou's City Bar. He was also said to be depressed after an argument with his girlfriend that night, which some claim made him a prime target for violence in D.C.'s high-crime Northwest region. However, GOP lobbyist and D.C. lawyer Jack Berkman formally appealed to Congress to investigate the death after claiming he had evidence that Russia may be behind Mr. Rich's murder. Nothing was taken from Seth, not his wallet, gold chain, credit cards, or a sizable amount of cash, he told DailyMail.com in February. So you know there's no robbery gone awry. He said he was contacted by a man in his 60s, claiming to be a former U.S. intelligence officer, who claimed the murder was arranged by the Russian government at a very high level. Mr. Berkman went on to say, he just said he had knowledge it was arranged by the Russian government and stressed that it was at a high level. I've met this person and he seems very credible. We're now investigating the allegations he has made. A timeline of Rich's final hours was independently compiled through a Daily Mail online investigation. It cut against conspiracy theories which claimed the DNC staffer was assassinated or on his way to an FBI meeting when he was killed, although the crucial minutes leading up to his death are still unaccounted for. Since then, the murder has set off a flurry of international speculation and conspiracy theories, including claims that Rich, who worked in the voter access department, was about to blow the whistle on Democratic voting fraud. According to staff at Lou's City Bar, a sports pub Rich frequented 5 or 6 nights a week, it started off as any typical Saturday. He showed up alone that evening and sat at his usual leather stool in the corner of the bar. He was a regular at the pub, often showing up straight from the office in a shirt and tie and lugging his laptop bag. By closing time, around 1:45 am, Rich was unusually drunk. He would normally throw back Bell's beer for hours without a problem, but that night he was uncharacteristically unsteady on his feet as he made his way out the door. Police responding to the sound of multiple gunshots found Mr. Rich lying on the street with bullet wounds at around 4:19 am. Rich's father said he was told by investigators that his son was shot in the back, and that he still had his cell phone, wallet, and watch on him when he was found. Rich was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead shortly before 6 a.m. The coroner's office said it does not publicly release reports, but confirmed that cause of death was gunshots to the torso. Read more. Family's private investigator: there is evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to death. Story WTTG.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.